This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Nashville, Tennessee, state capital. We are joined today by Jason Zachary. He is a new member, not the newest, but a new member of the Tennessee House of Representatives. Suffice it to say, this is your first session.
It is, yes, sir. This is my first session, newly elected in August.
How's it going?
It's going fantastic.
Tell me.
I love it. I love that. I think people will always ask me what has been the most surprising aspect of being here, and it truly is the heart of the people to serve. Yeah. And when you recognize our founders' intent, they intended the states to have the power and the federal government to be limited. And the reason is we're closest to the people.
Clearly.
And so you can read about it and think you understand, but until you're actually here and see how close we are to the people, how fast things move, how accountable we really are, and then you just, again, see, I'm a business owner out of Knoxville, so I'm engaged in the community. And
so that begs the question. You're a business owner in Knoxville.
Yes.
Everything's going swimmingly in Knoxville.
Yes.
Why did you decide to really divide your life to serve the people?
Yeah, that is a great question. Yeah, and it really is a spiritual journey. The Lord really began.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. The Lord really began to work on my heart back in 2011. I actually ran for United.
Should I talk to the Lord and say maybe he shouldn't be working so
we can
hard?
We can pray about it together. If
I
you
was going to say, because
but
things were going well.
I actually have done it in reverse order. I ran
me.
for United States Congress in 2014. Was a complete unknown. Ended up getting.
Whose seat is it?
I ran in the Republican primary against Congressman Duncan.
Got it.
I ran for Congress. Congressman Duncan's a great man. He's done well, but I was simply being obedient to what the Lord called me to do. And the Lord used that to now put me in this position.
There you have it.
We got 40% of the vote, did well.
That's for real.
It is, yeah. And then so when Ryan Haynes, who held the seat before I did, when he decided to step down and be the GOP chair for the state, I had people come to me and ask to run, prayed about it, and felt like this was the direction for me and my family.
I don't know about those prayers.
It's unexpected. That's right. It leads you. You got to be careful when you ask, "Where do you want me, Lord?" Because He leads you an unexpected path.
So let's talk about another path that hopefully the Lord will take us down, and that's safe roads.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Because there's no question roads are on our mind.
Yes.
And while Tennessee has some very safe roads, newer roads, clean roads, it's an issue that's on your mind.
It is.
And we know that the gas tax has not been increased in Tennessee since 1989. And we know that since 1989 we've had, a little inflation and more fuel efficient vehicles. And
cost of living, on. Sure.
Construction costs are going up. And so there's a lot of concern, Democrats and Republicans,
Absolutely.
conservatives and liberals, about this issue.
Right.
Where is this man going on the question of transportation?
Well, fortunately, I'm blessed to be on transportation sub and full. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I've been actively engaged in these conversations. And over the last however many weeks it's been since session started, 8 weeks, say, TDOT has been coming to us saying, Department of Transportation has been coming to us to say, we need more funds. We need more funds. We can cover bridges and repaving roads, those safety projects. We got to make sure everybody gets to and fro. We've got those, but capacity projects to allow our state to continue to expand and grow economically, we have to have additional funds. As you mentioned, gas tax has not been raised. But the challenge is before I can ever go to a constituent and say we have to talk about raising taxes, which again as a conservative limited government guy, typically that's never going to be in my top 5 asking about taxes.
But let me ask you, I've spoken with some of your colleagues, Republicans, who have said, I'm not sure if we're calling this what we should be calling it. Is it a gas tax or is it a user fee?
Right.
Because in a lot of ways we are using the road.
Sure.
And so I don't want to play semantics, but let's play semantics.
Right. And you could really say everything is a user fee. Yes, you could really look at tax So with that being said, it's imperative on us.
But I understand what
it's incumbent upon us as legislators to make sure we're protecting our constituents, to make sure we're maximizing the resources that are available to us from tax dollars and make sure we're stewarding those well. And right now as a state, we've done really well. Over the last 13 months, we've had an $838 million surplus. And so if you take a step back and look and say, well, why would we not utilize that surplus before we talk about any sort of user fee, comprehensive tax? We have to make sure we're maximizing the resources that we have available. And so I have a bill that has come out of transportation this session that we hope to be able to get to the House floor that will actually call for utilizing 25% of the surplus, allocating that every month and at the end of the year, moving those dollars over to TDOT to allow them to use those for priority projects, backlog, or to help us meet our federal match to get the dollars from the federal government.
That's real.
It is real, absolutely. And if we had been doing that over the last 13 months, we would have moved over $200 million into that fund.
So will those monies be used for one-time projects? Will it be?
It's at the discretion of TDOT.
Okay.
It's at the discretion of TDOT. So let's just say this next year we have $100 million. We have a surplus that's $100 million. 25% of that $25 million would then move over to this priority fund. That may be one project. It may be three. It simply may be the $21 million we need to match our federal dollars. So it's at the discretion of TDOT, but TDOT's telling us we need more resources.
Right.
We have this surplus there, and the reason we allocate it every month is because, like we've done this year, at the end of the year we have this big pile of money and people start grabbing. People start grabbing for projects. And so it's been very, very clear that this is a priority for our state. Transportation is a priority.
Sure.
And so we allocate those dollars every month to ensure that we have money for TDOT at the end of the year.
25%, though, that's a significant number. Will the governor be on board with a number like that?
Well, the governor and I have met and talked about it.
How's
we
that?
have. Governor's great. We
a
have
Knoxville
great conversation.
resident.
Knoxville resident.
He was former mayor.
We don't see eye to eye on this because it is very different from the standard budgeting process, which I can understand completely. But again, when you start talking about additional taxes that affect middle-class families, that affect working-class families. And it's easier to talk about it now when gas is, what, $1.71 per gallon? But what are we going to do when it jumps back up to $3 a gallon and we've tacked on another 20 cents in gas tax? That's a budget buster for people. So I have to make sure that I'm protecting the people that I represent, and the way to do that is to utilize those surplus dollars first before we talk about anything else.
So let's say, for argument's sake, your bill sails through your House of Representatives.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
But then it dies in the Senate. Who knows why?
Right.
Who knows why it does? It's just, hypothetical.
It could happen.
Where do we go from here? Because the governor has suggested he would like to look at the question of increasing the tax, the fee, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Will it happen this session? I don't know. Could happen next year. So let's say, for argument's sake, your bill doesn't make it. Do you feel comfortable going to your constituents and saying, look, I tried, and you tried hard.
Right.
But it didn't go, and we need to do something right now.
I don't think no one disagrees that we have to do something.
Right.
It's just a matter of what steps do we take. For example, right now, the diesel tax is not at the level of the gas tax.
Okay. So
that's a first step. And most people see that. Of course, there's people within my district, and within the state that use diesel fuel. But people see that as a fee for people traveling through the trucking industry, which has such a heavy burden on the roads.
Right.
And so, if before we start having the conversation about gas tax on batteries, raising registration fees, we need to look at the diesel tax and bring that at least up to the level of the gas tax.
What about some type of special fee for individuals that buy hybrids, or even more importantly, electric?
Right.
I mean, if you have an electric car, you know how much gas tax you pay? A big fat zero.
Right. That's
because you never use gas.
Right. And I think the important thing is to be open to all solutions and all options. And right now, we really haven't seen a plan from the administration that says, this is our comprehensive plan, this is what we want to do. And that's why I think the bill that we've passed through transportation that we hope makes it to the House floor is so important, because it says we're going to start right now. We're not going to wait, because this problem's not going to go away. So if this bill doesn't pass and go into law, then we're back in 2017 still talking about a plan, and we're now 2.5 years from when the governor really originally began talking about this.
What about trying to use some of the surplus right now, regardless of how your bill does? Because look, there is that surplus.
Right.
Is there a way to start taking some of that money and using it tomorrow?
Not at this point, no.
Really?
No, because that money has, as the governor laid out in his State of the State, that it's already been allocated. We're going through the budget process now, so no, in terms of what the monies from last year, those dollars are already being allocated for next year's budget, and so that budgeting process is already too far along, so we're looking at next year.
Sorry you don't like your new job. It must be
Man,
rough.
I absolutely love it. Am I passionate enough about it? Yes, sir. Yeah.
You're a good man.
Thank you so much.
His name is Jason Zachary. He is a new member of the Tennessee House of Representatives, representing beautiful portions of Knox County. And my name is Brad Pomerance in Nashville. It's Charter Local Edition.